This is a look at the cultural gala at the 2024 Arctic Winter Games in Alaska. This is actually the first of two galas tonight. It's a chance for every delegation to send its performers, showcase their culture, and then they'll do a performance together so they can share and spread the different cultures of the circumpolar north. You are looking at the Nunavut delegation here, drumming and dancing, and a little bit of throat singing as well, I believe they'll do later on. Again, this is one of two galas. There will be another later tonight. Good evening. Welcome to Northbeat. I'm Megan Roberts. The jury in Kane Morgan's murder trial has reached its verdict. Morgan was on trial the past 2 weeks for the 2018 killing of Kevin Edward McGowan from British Columbia. Morgan admitted to beating McGowan to death in the early hours of April 30th in Dawson, but had pleaded not guilty to the murder charge. Chris McIntyre reports.
The 11-person jury has found Morgan not guilty of second-degree murder. It only took about 4 hours of deliberation before the jury was back in the courtroom. Now, because Morgan has admitted to killing McGowan, the jury has found Morgan guilty of a lesser charge of manslaughter. Morgan's family broke down in tears as the verdict was read out loud. The McGowan family sat on the other side of the room, noticeably in shock. Before the verdict was announced, McGowan's mother, Diana, said the trial has offered some closure, but her life will never be the same again.
Yeah, so I miss him terribly. He was my son that we had a lot in common, and it hurts a lot to not have him in my life. It's a great big hole in my heart that will never heal.
In a statement, Morgan's family say they think the jury's verdict is an honest one. A date to set the date for sentencing has been scheduled for March 26th. Chris McIntyre, CBC News, Dawson City.
A man who stabbed a Whitehorse RCMP officer 2 years ago has been granted a conditional discharge. Jason Aklak pleaded guilty last month to one count of assaulting a peace officer with a weapon. The officer was wearing body armor and was not physically injured. According to an agreed statement of facts, police were doing a wellness check on Aklak in 2022. At the time, he was roughly 35 days into a 40-day fast, had not drank water in several days, and had smoked cannabis. He experienced mental health issues as a result. The Crown and Defence both agreed to the conditional discharge. However, Aklak must comply with a 12-month probation order. The terms include attending counselling. The 5th and Rogers site in Whitehorse could finally be developed. It comes after the Yukon government sold the property to a consortium of local developers. Rafsan Farouk-Jugal tells us what's next.
The 5th and Rogers site has sat empty for years. On paper, the 2.1-hectare lot is worth $5 million, but the Yukon government is selling it to West End Development for $1.
The Department of Energy, Mines and Resources put together an estimate indicating that if we had not sold the land for private development, that the potential land development cost for government was in the range of $12 to $14 million. That's what it would have cost us before we sold it.
The land used to be the site of a fuel tank farm. The soil needs to be remediated, and the lot needs to be protected against possible landslides. West End Development is expected to bear all the costs of the project.
What we hope to see is, for me, when I think about kids laughing again, walking in that area, utilizing the land. I see opportunities for elders to walk to work or walk to the river. I see it as a lot of Yukon First Nation people reclaiming a piece of land that we did occupy before.
Early plans call for 300 units at the site. Construction could start as early as this summer. It is not clear how much the project will cost or when first residents can move in. Rafsan Farouk-Jugal, CBC News, Whitehorse.
The mayor of Tuktoyaktuk says the only road to his community is unsafe. He says high snowbanks are causing safety issues on the Inuvik-Tuk Highway when it's open, and he wants the GNWT to pay more to clear the excess snow away. The CBC's Des Loreen was on the highway to learn more just before it closed briefly again yesterday.
Yeah, I'm going to turn around. You go ahead.
The Inuvik-Tuk Highway closed again yesterday afternoon due to blowing snow and low visibility. It reopened to single-lane traffic this afternoon.
This has got to be the worst highway in the Northwest Territories, maybe in Canada. There's no damn way they let the dumpster deteriorate like they did with this road here. Because this is totally unacceptable.
The road was closed for 12 days last month due to similar conditions. Crews are still working to clear more than a single lane in some areas. High snowbanks are causing blind corners. Tuktoyaktuk Mayor Erwin Elias wants the GNWT to pay more for equipment to clear it all away.
The GNWT's lack of action now threatens our access of food, our access of health care, supplies, and puts in jeopardy the fundamental right, to travel our own land.
EGT Northwind has the maintenance contract on the highway. CEO Russell Newmark says he's made recommendations on how to keep the road clear, but he says no one listens. Newmark says the company has no discretion and must simply follow instructions. The GNWT Department of Infrastructure says it will have a response on Monday. Des Loreen, CBC News, Inuvik.
Parks Canada and the government of the Northwest Territories were in Fort Smith last night talking about the 2023 NWT wildfires. But when residents arrived at the event, they weren't happy with what was on offer. Carla Ulrich explains.
This is not what people in Fort Smith were expecting when they came out to the rec center in Fort Smith last night.
I expected to have a town hall meeting. Parks sitting up front there and the people sitting in chairs, asking questions.
But instead, residents were greeted with tables and one-on-one conversations. Not what they wanted, but Parks Canada and the Department of Environment and Climate Change did have officials there to talk. Tabacha MLA Jay McDonald was at the event. He says there will be more opportunities in the future for people to speak, and it's important to hear people's stories. He also says there is a lot of work being done behind the scenes getting ready for this year and a potentially challenging fire season.
ECC is currently working through a independent third-party review where they're looking at operational things and the overall kind of all-of-government approach to fire, SOMACA, and evacuations and that sort of thing.
Fort Smith resident Vina Champagne says communication during the evacuation is key.
Word chaos would be perfect. They could have done it in a much milder form instead of making people panic. It was more or less a scare situation.
Mike Westwick wants people to know what they've been working on over the winter.
Getting prepared for another potentially challenging season. We're in the process of bringing on crews, equipment, and aircraft even earlier than we did last year in anticipation of being ready to respond to anything on that front.
Westwick says they haven't taken a break since last fire season and wants residents to know that they hear their concerns and they aim to do better. Carla Ulrich, CBC News, Fort Smith.
A federal judge has reinstated the elected chief of the Salt River First Nation of Fort Smith. Toni Heron was suspended by her council last fall, only 7 days after members of the First Nation elected her chief. But on Tuesday, a federal court judge said the suspension was not valid. The judge said rules set out in the band's election code were not followed. The court case is the latest in a long line of infighting among chiefs, councillors, and band members of the First Nation. Hope that Yellowknife's Cabin Radio could be granted an FM license isn't totally lost. The CRTC has put out a call looking for people interested in getting a license, and Cabin Radio says it still wants one. Cabin Radio has been pushing for a license for years. Its application was denied last year because the CRTC believed Yellowknife couldn't support another station. But now it says conditions have changed. The pandemic and wildfires have shown there is a need for such a station. And along with any new applications, the CRTC will also reconsider the one from Cabin.
Rather than constantly refreshing a website, they could have just been listening to that information come out from us through the night at the time.
Williams says he's hopeful about their application and adds that they have support in the Yellowknife community.
1940 dalalaw 50 saling urak luang kalok tuan. Semak tualu lakalawam. Pilaktok talo wama. Wakalaw alak sumatan sibulak tak pilaktok tawama. Pilakta si malak sang wiglak tawlak sang magama.
Priya doesn't love exercising, but loves the way it makes her feel. Max doesn't love cooking, but loves homemade meals with his kids. Paul doesn't love doing his taxes, but loves getting the benefits and credits he qualified for. Learn more about benefits and credits like the GST HST credit and Canada Workers Benefit at canada.ca/every dollar counts. A message from the Government of Canada.
Hey, you're some friends, aren't you? Stand here and now you try and blackmail her. You disgust me. Every one of you.
Coronation Street. Watch free on CBC Gem.
Bad hair days. We all have them.
Even us scientists. I think I know my place. It's not making art. What? This is a whale? That's incredible.
I'm piloting a boat in the fjords of Norway. I love this job.
You never listen to me.
You never think things through.
Your honeymoon phase is officially over. We never had a honeymoon phase.
You really gonna make me say it?
Oh, yeah.
Fine. I need you, Max.
So much drama. I love it. You ever get tired of that? Stop it. Get tired of that.
Someone broke into my gym locker, stole my hearing aid. I feel naked without my hearing aid. And my clothes. Didn't catch up. It's about the body hair, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's a lot.
This is a live look at the Gold Ulu basketball game at the AWG. This is the under-19 female category. You can see there, Alaska versus NWT. And right now, the Northwest Territories is out in front with, just 14. They just scored, just as I was saying. So 14 NWT to 6 Alaska. Again, this is the Gold Ulu game. This is for all the marbles. And this is the U19 female category. This is the first quarter. I do believe we're just coming to the end of the first quarter pretty soon. And right now the score is 14 NWT and 6 Alaska. Now Team NT finished the preliminary round first overall with 6 game points, and Alaska finished the preliminary round second overall with 4 points. The bronze Ulu game in this category was played earlier today. Yukon beat out Nunavut 56-41. We will have more on that game as well later in the show, but right now this is a live look at the Gold Ulu game, the first quarter for U19 women's basketball. Alaska battling it out against NWT, and right now NWT is in the lead. And that is far from the only final match being battled tonight. Wrestlers are also on the mat right now, hoping to earn the top Ulus. And the CBC's Pauline Pimek has a front row seat to all of the action in Wasilla, Alaska. Pauline, tell us about what's happening there right now.
Yeah, so here we're at the final rounds of the Inuit wrestling style. That's the style that they're doing here. Right now behind me we have a Nunavut athlete who won gold yesterday. He's going up against Team Alberta North. You can see the height difference right now, guys, and at these games, in these matches, it don't matter. It's, yikes. So they pull themselves from the lower back and they try to use all their top weight and flip them on their back. They can't use any other technique. They have to keep their hands clenched together. If they lose, ooh, that's a tight one. That's a tight one. So it's been really interesting to show. Nunavut took that round. Our gold medal winner from yesterday took that round. His name is Craig Aulajut. This is the higher weight class going on. So this earlier we had a couple girls playing from Team NWT. Unfortunately, she lost to Alaska. There was another young guy from Uluhaktok, last name Alonak. Tiny guy, so amazing. Just this tiny kid versus a taller guy, and he played his heart out. He unfortunately lost his 2 matches. NWT here playing strong, Team Alberta North, and we have Nunavut. Doesn't seem to have Kalatlit Nunat here, so it's really a mix of the Nunavut teams, Northwest Territories, Alberta North. And right now, Nunavut is dominating in the heavyweight category. And it's just been really interesting, Megan, because you can see after they throw each other down on the mat, when the girls were playing, especially with the 2 girls from NWT in Alaska, as soon as she put her down and the whistle blew, she asked her opponent, "Are you okay? Let me help you up." And so this is a very positive way of these kids learning and helping and competing. And so it's been really amazing to see. Team NWT has so far won a few matches. We won't have total medal count for you from here, but they'll have a medal ceremony tonight at 6 o'clock, and we'll see who are the champs of the day. Megan, thank you.
Thank you, Matna Pauline. We look forward to seeing who wins in this category as well. That's Pauline Pimak live in Wasilla, Alaska for us tonight at wrestling. Okay, let's take a look now at that bronze Ulu game we were telling you about earlier for women's basketball. This is in the under-19 category. Nunavut took an early lead, but Yukon started catching up in the second quarter. The teams stayed close throughout the third until a final push by Yukon in the fourth catapulted them ahead, and the final score again was 56 for Team Yukon, 41 for Team Nunavut, which of course means Yukon takes home the bronze Ulu. And this is one of the last Arctic sports we'll see in these games, the sledge jump. You can see the athletes hurling themselves over those sledges. There are 10 of them in total. Now, once you clear all 10, you get a very brief break before you turn around and start it all over again. And competitors keep going until they knock a sledge. This game kept players warm in the winter months. That's how it started. And the AWG says the current record, 830 jumps. As we near the end of the games, the Ulus are being handed out fast and furious. And last night, the boys' U18 hockey finals were decided.
And now for our silver medalist, Northwest Territories.
And the gold Ulu went to Team Alaska, which had a resounding 8-1 win over Team NT. Alaska scored first, and the NWT just wasn't able to catch up. They scored their only goal about midway into the second period.
Unfortunately, Team Nunavut will not be able to make it for the medal ceremony, but we want to congratulate them on their bronze medal. Congratulations, Team Nunavut.
And it should have been a celebration for Nunavut's U18 boys hockey team. They won the bronze Ulu against Yukon 6-2. But as you saw, they weren't at the Ulu ceremony. Earlier today, Team Nunavut released a statement saying that because of the, quote, actions of individual members of the team, the chef de mission decided it would be inappropriate for the team to be there. It's not yet clear what happened to force the team to make that decision. And it was an Ulu sweep for Team Nunavik in the U18 female finger pull. And it's not even the first time this has happened. Samantha Rupert picked up the gold, Iva Lingard the silver, and Ambriel Rupert got bronze. This is actually a repeat for all 3 athletes who finished in the same positions on the podium in the last Arctic Winter Games. And there were plenty of records broken at these games, including several for speed skating. Let's take a look at a few of them. 14-year-old Saya McEachern from Team NT broke the 400 and 500 meter records. He took gold ulus in both categories. Currently, he has 4. We told you yesterday about Team NT's Lachlan Dunn, who skated a new AWG record in the 777 meter race at 1 minute 11.25 seconds. He also has 4 gold ulus. And Akutak Williamson Bathory from Team Nunavut broke the record in the 500 meter race. She timed out at 48.84 seconds, beating the previous record set by the NWT's Jill Gilday in 2006. Here she is describing that moment.
Yeah, I was really preparing myself a lot this whole year for that distance. Initially, the plan was to get under 50 seconds, and I broke 50 seconds, and I was like, okay, well, I need to keep making goals for myself, right? So breaking that record was just amazing, and I was jumping with my coaches and screaming. My mom was crying. It was such an amazing experience, and just getting that encouragement from my community and my teammates has just been amazing. He was the ref, David Gilday. His daughter was the one who set the record, so that was a pretty crazy experience, and my dad was on the ice as well. So it was like a full circle moment there. I'd want to come back as a coach to keep that excitement in it, just because it's done so much for me growing up, you know. It's not only like the physical aspect, but the emotional and mental preparation to everything. It really helps you a lot throughout life. So I want to be able to coach when I'm done university, come back and give that back to my community. I just like to say, you know, keep pushing for your dreams. You know, for me, training at the Olympic Oval was just an opportunity I took. So I would say take advantage of all the opportunities you have there for you and just excel at them.
Wise words from Team Nunavut's Akutak Williamson Bathory. She has won 4 gold ulus in speed skating this week. And Team Nunavut's boys volleyball teams had a pretty good run during these games. They finished 4th in the preliminary round, and they will play for the bronze ulu tonight. Upiti Ulayu is on the team. It is his first and his last Arctic Winter Games, and he says he's excited to be in Alaska. He also has some advice for younger players.
Keep pushing, try your hardest, never give up.
If you want to watch the boys play in the bronze medal game, you can stream it on the AWG website. It starts at 5:30 p.m. Alaska time. Now, for all its spirit and fun, the Arctic Winter Games experience can be intimidating. For many northern youth, particularly those from our most remote communities, the games are a big shift. There are thousands of people, bright spotlights, and instead of leaning in, it may be easier to lean out and leave these opportunities for others. To help make the games less intimidating, teams in the Yukon, NWT, and Nunavut are starting a mentorship program. It's called Team North, and the benefits extend far past the games. Take a look.
I wasn't planning on joining at first, but then I kind of just felt like I needed to leave.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty good. It's good.
Wait.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. Doing great. Doing great. And we're really proud of you for your story, right? Yeah.
I struggled trying to be like a different person, but then I think wrestling is very life improvements where you find where you stand, you find new people, you mentally challenge yourself, you self-discipline, and you just meet a lot of new people. And I met new friends, and I'm just very grateful, and I'm very, very shy. I wasn't prepared, but then I just got scared, but then I just went up there, and it was one of the best experiences because I didn't expect myself to get up, but I tried. I went out there. I did what I need to do. I came here for what I need to do, and I'm very proud of myself, and I'm grateful for Monique to help me get to where I am now.
My name's Monique Smith. I live in Calgary, Alberta, but I actually am a teacher in small flying communities in the Northwest Territories. And so as a result of going in counseling, I had a background in wrestling. I wrestled at the University of Calgary as a varsity athlete for many years, and wrestling gave me a lot. And so One of the things I realized as I was in these communities is the importance of creating that connection, and that sport is a really great place to build up mental health and resiliency through that connection, through the physical literacy, and really through the challenges and stuff like that. Hannah is like, you know, like many teenagers. She's nervous and shy, and there's not many girls in our community of her age, and so there's not a lot of opportunities, right, to create those opportunities to socialize. And so in wrestling, all of a sudden, you're walking out in a singlet in front of other people, and it is the most vulnerable thing. And yet I see Hannah, you know, going and doing it, and yeah, putting on that singlet, and despite being nervous, just being willing to challenge herself out there on the mat. When it came for time for the Arctic Winter Games, she said yes, she competed in the trials. What we're finding in the North for a lot of kids is they don't have that opportunity to make the connection. It is hard to create social connection when there's not a lot of other people to connect with. And if you don't have a lot of opportunities, it's easy to struggle with anxiety. And so what we're finding, the research says, is that sport and connection is a big part of mental health and resiliency, and yet there's a lot of gaps in that. And so one of the things I think is answering that research, the necessity of creating opportunities for kids like Hannah and for others to be able to grow through sport.
I was really aggressive growing up, and I got myself into some trouble a lot, and wrestling was kind of like my outlet.
So Lauren Evans Muswagon is one of the coaches for Team Nunavut. Lauren is somebody who's been a real asset just to be able, as an Indigenous woman, to be able to come alongside Hannah.
I think Hannah said it earlier, like you don't know that Indigenous people can be in these roles, and when you do see it, you can like see picture yourself in that position, like as something that is you can reach. It's a very empowering feeling.
I want to say that keep trying, and you succeed in whatever you're trying to challenge yourself in.
Watch others come alongside, like Team Nunavut and those coaches who've just are trying to build up our team together as we build up Team North, and we really build on resiliency. So one of the big things for myself as a coach is to help athletes become comfortably uncomfortable. And it's the idea that we need to be uncomfortable to grow. We need to be vulnerable. And so for Hannah, I see her putting herself in situations where she's uncomfortable, but we're trying to create that safety. And so as she's becoming safely uncomfortable, we just see all that growth and transformation, and that's kind of what we want to see for all athletes. And as we build up this program across the North, we hope we can empower young Indigenous men and women, kids and girls to become, to challenge themselves so that they become the future leaders of their communities.
As a woman in the wrestling world and as an Indigenous woman, there's not a lot of like representation, and you face a lot of like discrimination, like injustices, and so for me it's really important that I be that representation that I needed when I was a wrestler in high school.
We're just really excited to see what's going to happen with Team North as we grow, and that we're not just Team NT, we're Team Nunavut, we're Team Yukon, and that we're supporting each other.
At the end of the day, it's just improvement, and what did you learn? And I just think it was very, very good experience in my life.
What a beautiful story, and strong competitors, and these are another set of strong competitors. This is the Gold Ulu game in basketball for under 19 females, and you can see there the NWT in the second quarter, 27-14, with Alaska. Pretty strong lead, but there's still a long way to go in this Gold Ulu game. And that is Northbeat for tonight. For news anytime, go to cbc.ca/north. We leave you with the sights and sounds of a cultural concert and fashion show at the AWG last night. Thank you for watching. I'm Megan Roberts. Have a great weekend.